In this video, we're going to walk through how to send someone a report of their responses after they have taken a survey or a quiz. In this case, the goal is to simply send them their responses. You could also include personalized recommendations and give them additional feedback based on their answers. But in this case, it's simply to provide them with how they responded to the questions. In this particular survey, the questions are pretty much all free response, and the goal is to send them their free response answers after they have taken the survey. I've included one multiple choice question at the end just for demonstration purposes to show how you would send someone their response to a multiple choice question as well. So in the admin for this survey, under the create module, there is a recommendation icon here. And under the recommendations is where you can create feedback for people based on their responses, or in this case, we're using this feature simply to send them a copy of their responses. So under recommendations, I'm going to click on individual answers, and you will see every question contained here. In this survey, there were quite a few questions. There were 48 questions, and so I'm going to go ahead and create a recommendation for each of these 48 questions. Now I know the terminology recommendation doesn't make a lot of sense there. Typically you would use the recommendation to give someone feedback based on their answer, but in this case we're using it just to give them their answer. So on question 1, I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and it brings up and shows me the text that everyone will see, and then the text that is specific to their response. So it says question 1, session 1, let's begin your coaching journey, and there's a little HTML in there that I'm going to delete that says new line, and I'm going to just put that on a new line. And I'm going to change the font to let's say Arial 14-point font, and then down here I am also going to change the font to Arial 14-point font. So then when someone sees this, the way that it will appear in their report, it will say question 1, and then it lists the question, and then it says you answered, and then this short code here will be replaced with their answer. And it has quotation marks around it. If you don't want to give them the quotation marks, you can just delete those. So now it will show the question, and it will show their response. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for each of the 40 or so questions that were on this survey. So I'll do number 2 here while recording, and then I'll pause the recording while I add the others. So I'm going to open up again, and this one says question 2, reflective comment, and I'm going to change the font and the font size, and then I'm going to remove a line there, get rid of the quotation marks because I don't want quotation marks in that case, and change the font and the font size. So when they see this, it will tell them the question, and then it will say you answered, and this will be replaced with their response. And their response is a free response. They're just typing in a whole paragraph, and so it will just fill in with exactly what they wrote. In the case of multiple choice, instead of just filling in with exactly what they wrote, I'm going to show a multiple choice example. It says, what is your favorite color? Red, blue, green. In the case of red, if they answered that their favorite color was red, I'm going to hit add there. And I'm going to write in question 48, what is your favorite color? And then you answered red. So I'm just going to write out exactly what I want them to see if they answered that their favorite color was red. In other cases, you would probably want to give them additional feedback. So you might say, here is some feedback for you. And you could fill in feedback based on that response. In this case, we're just wanting to give them the response. So we're going to say, what is your favorite color? And you answered red, so they see what their response was. And I'll go ahead and save that. And then I would do the same thing for blue and for green in the case of a multiple choice question. And then once I've done that, you can hit this preview button here to preview what those will look like for the individual responses. So in this case, what is your favorite color? If they answer red, this is what they're going to see. Question 48, what is your favorite color? You answered red. So you can see a quick preview of what that's going to look like by pushing that preview button. And then once you've gone through and created all of the recommendations, which I will do here shortly, you can go to the Customize section, and there's a couple different ways to send this to people. You can show them all of their responses on the thank you page, and the way that you would do that is on the thank you page, you would copy this short code or this merge field that says answer.recommendation, and you would put that directly on the thank you page. And this will fill with all of the text that we just created under this recommendation section. In my case, I'm not wanting to put it on the thank you page. I don't want to give them their answers right away. I'd want to send it to them in an email. So I'm going to go to the email settings, and in the email settings, I'm going to enable the autoresponder. I'm going to change the body of this email a little bit. So the from email, I'm going to say support@abccompany.com. This is whichever email you want to send from, to send them their copy of their answers. And then the from name, I am just going to say support team. The subject will be your responses, and then I am going to BCC myself if you want to BCC yourself. That way you will get a copy of this email and the attached report as well. And then in the email, I'm going to say, hey, and I'm going to copy this here, contact.firstname, and get rid of any bold, change my font. So I'm going to say, hey, contact.firstname, check out the attached PDF for your responses. And then in that email, I can attach a report by checking this box here at the bottom, include a downloadable report in the email. So I check that, and then I say download as PDF because I want to attach a PDF. If you are an Infusionsoft customer, you can also check this box to send this PDF directly into the Infusionsoft file box. That is not necessary, you don't have to do that, but it's an option. And then in the PDF report, I'm going to copy this answer.recommendation and put that in here, and I probably don't have to do anything with the font and font size because it's going to keep the font and font size from the individual recommendations that I already created. But this will be replaced in this PDF with the recommendations that I created earlier. So this is how I would set up the PDF report. And if I wanted to add a header above, I could type in anything that I want to put above those recommendations. If I wanted to add a footer, I could type in anything below all of those, all of their responses. But in this case, I just want to send a list of their responses to them after they've taken it, so they have it for their records. So I'm going to put that in there and go ahead and save this. And one other thing I failed to mention is if you want to delay this autoresponder, you can. If you don't want to send it to them right after they've taken the survey, you can delay it. In this case, I'm going to send it 0 minutes after the survey, which means it's going to send right after the survey. If I wanted to send it maybe 1 day after, you could delay it by a day and send it to them later and say, hey, our team's been compiling your responses, here's a copy. You can delay it if you want. So I'm going to leave it at 0 minutes after the survey, and now they will get a copy, a PDF report copy of their responses after they've taken the survey. So I just took the survey with a bunch of lorem ipsum, just some random words to put in to take the survey so I can see how those come back into my report. And the very beginning there was a lead capture form and I put in an email address. So I filled out the survey. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And then now that I submitted the survey, I will get an email back with my responses. So I got the email back. It says, hey Lance, check out your attached PDF for your responses. And then I can go ahead and open up the PDF. In the PDF you can see it has the questions and it says you answered, and I had put in testing, question 2 you answered, and I put in some random text. But you can see in order it's showing the questions and my responses to those questions. And the font that I chose was Arial 14-point font, so everything is appearing in Arial 14-point font. And it'll go through all of those questions and answers with the responses that I put in. Again, if I wanted to put something more at the top, you could type that into the PDF creator. If I wanted to put more in at the bottom. In this case, I just wanted to put a copy of the questions and answers onto the PDF report.